range of motion that your foot
Ron beamed in.
would actually have. I
I
feel like
do.
you could set this up. You could have like little arms sticking out of your foot and have like a little face stuck on and legs and have a whole bit. You could maybe get 7 seasons out of that. 7 seasons in a day. Welcome, folks. This is our AMA event, and it is coinciding with another event. So I would encourage you to check out that other event if you want to check that out. Maybe I'll plug that real quick here before we start. It's Churchill's Open Mic Night. That is in the Musical Theatre. I think that's the Unknown Theatre, folks. I'm not 100% sure.
Zephy just
Maybe
teleported
Iron Wolf
in.
knows. Do you know Iron Wolf?
I can check. So it's
Cricket
a
has glitched into the Matrix.
musical theater. I don't know where. Yeah, comedy club. I don't know.
Comedy Club. Cool. Well, yeah, definitely check that out. If at any stage you get bored of listening to me waffle on, I highly recommend you check that out instead. But anyway, how are we doing? This is I'm sure everybody here knows how it works. You make your way up onto the beach, and then you
Maticus has
can ask
glitched
the
into
foot
the
any
Matrix.
question, and I can say it. I can say the answer as a foot. That's how this works. That's the deal. That's why we started Only Foots. Welcome to the new name for Banter. It's now called Only Foot. And that's what it's going to be about. You think I'm joking? You think I'm joking? That's what we're going to do.
Slixton is too late.
Go ahead, Pony. Tell us. Shut me up.
Well, I'm just going to think about it for a minute. No, it's all right. The new avatar system we're having, is
Yeah.
the pose going to be T pose or A pose? I meant to ask
That is
yesterday, but yeah.
That's a good question. I think we're aiming for T pose because T pose is more common with things like Mixamo. So I
Yeah.
actually think we might be aiming for T pose, just generally because I think we decided internally that A pose is pretty good if you're going for like really high fidelity movements for like AAA content, but T
ProX
pose
side has joined.
is going to be a lot
Hide your
easier to
avatar.
work
Hide
with.
your
I'm pretty
avatars.
sure that that's the conclusion that we've come to internally. And honestly, it's also about
Dew
trying to work
Purple
with as
just
many
dropped in from another
existing things that are
dimension.
already out there. I actually think it could be a really cool workflow just to be able to like throw something that kind of is shaped like a human together in Blender and then just upload it to Mixamo, auto rig it, and have it in Banter probably moments later, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That
thinking.
sounds
There's
cool.
also other rigging solutions out there that can do stuff like that. I think for free as well. Maybe not. Aline is definitely the person to ask on that front, or maybe somebody else, maybe Proxide or Lisa, or maybe yourself. If I know you're doing most of your stuff with Pro Builder, but yeah, I mean, I think that will be pretty easy, right? To just have
Yeah.
Mixamo, upload, download, into Blender and upload to Banter. That's how the new avatar system is going to work.
That's good.
Discord
Marvelous.
Kitty has
Thank you.
entered the
Yeah, no
simulation.
problem.
Nobody else asking questions?
Vanquish 3R has
Then I'll
Not
ask
entered the
yet.
another one.
simulation.
Go ahead.
The new menu system, how's that coming on?
Yes.
So I know you've been working hard on that recently.
It's actually, we're kind of at the last hurdle. So I was talking to Gareth today, who's doing all of the heavy lifting. He says there's about 2 days work of finalizing some parts for the VR version of it, right? There's a on-screen 2D version and then a VR version that both kind of work differently to work as best they can for each of those platforms, let's say. But the VR version has about 2 days of work left, and then we're actually looking at trying to solve one or two last final critical bugs with the system, and it's going to be ready to go. So honestly, we were planning for it to have been ready by I think last Thursday or even today. So at this point, we're just in that home stretch territory really with it. So it's going to go to QA soon. They're going to beat the crap out of it, and yeah, maybe one or two final passes of polish on it, and then it's going to be out. So we're definitely talking less than 4 weeks at this point, and it'll
Ron
be
just
available.
crossed the digital
Yeah.
threshold.
That's brilliant. I'm
Yeah, no
pretty
problem.
sure all of us can't wait for it. Thank you.
New menu
done.
is going to be, it's a big deal. It's honestly, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work in the making. Cheers for that one, Pony. I appreciate it.
That's okay.
Ooh, Slixton. Is that an unknown theater event that we've got running concurrently? The Churchill's open mic.
Demon
No,
Maestro decided to join us
that's
in the
somebody else's event.
simulation.
That's I think Exterminator runs that one. Yeah,
Gotcha.
we would know.
Gotcha.
We know better than to go head to head with one of the most popular events in here. So.
I was suggesting people go over there. Honestly, I feel bad. I should be deferring to somebody
Maticus
else,
decided
right?
to join
But
us in the
Jesus, wow.
simulation.
Okay, there's 25 of us in here. But yeah, cheers for that, Slickston. Appreciate that info. Yeah, so for the people who've joined, welcome. I'm your host, Foot, this evening, and we've decided we're going to rename the game to Only Foots, and everybody's going to be a foot. That's what we're going to do from now on. So you can prepare yourselves for that however you deem fit. I think everybody can deal with that news in their own way. But in the
Vansky
meantime,
just
if you've any
stumbled
questions
into
about
our virtual
feet
realm.
or any of that
Someone
or
hold
anything at
their
all, feel
hand.
free
They
to make
look
your way
lost.
down onto the beach. I'll be more than happy to come up with some kind of crazy answer. And you'll have to figure out if it's true or not. And that'll be the game we'll play, right? Or I'll just pick on random people and be like, "What's the story? Tell me a story." Like, Zeffy, go ahead, tell us a story, Zeffy. Are you on the Jabra?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good start. So we've got some
'cause
buttery smooth audio.
Oh,
Let's go.
buttery.
Buttery.
Story. I mean, there's a lot of life stories, but like I don't want to go through that. But yesterday we did the snap and seek. It was really fun.
Hellion is here for
I was with
cuddles and
Draculus
milk and is all
and
out of
Razor, and we went
cuddles.
around together because it was the first time playing the snap and seek game that Jem made.
Nice.
And it was really fun
Airy
because like
Berry Niece
we
is
got
here
to
for
see a bunch
cuddles
of
and milk
spaces that
and is all out of
I haven't seen
cuddles.
before, and so did they, and also that's why I'm still wearing this like glowing green thing because Draculus wears his green and black too stuff. So that's a
Nice.
story.
That's a story. I can't fault you, and it's a great story. So thank you for
Yeah,
that. Nice
yeah,
one.
we had a good time.
Good work.
Yeah,
You pulled it off. I put you on the
yeah,
spot, and you had it sorted. Thanks, Effie.
sweet, sweet.
Oh, here we go. Iron Wolf, you're going to put me out of my misery. Hit me. What have you got? What can I do you for?
Yeah, someone we were talking a little bit about
Lonely
what is
Cyan
called
is
the
here to
event. We
kiss
will go
snowy
around
butt
and look at
cheeks.
the spaces.
The Grand Band Tour.
Yeah, World Hopper, or whatever it's
Maticus,
called.
a real
And
human,
there
actually
was a
joined the
suggestion
space.
that you had
Now everyone
one
act
that
like a
showed
human.
new worlds and one that showed
Demon
old
Ice
worlds,
Kyo,
so
a
you can
real
choose to
human,
see
actually joined the space.
old worlds or new
Now
worlds.
everyone act real human,
That's an idea
actually
at
joined the
least.
space.
So just putting
Now
it out
everyone
there.
act like a human.
There you go. That idea is put out there. Let's see. I don't know if I can see. Yeah, I'm sure we can come back and capture that from the stream if Faye or anybody else isn't here to take a note of that. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. There's a lot of old favorites, let's say, in terms of the worlds, and yeah, it's always good to kind of go back and catch up with them and see what kind of cool stuff has been done. There's actually a few worlds we've got in the works right now. There's somebody who reached out to us a little while ago and was interested in creating some worlds. Was actually interested in uh, uh, yeah looking to see if they could come on and create some worlds for us full time, and we're still
Ron
sort of
arrived.
pondering that. But I don't know if any of you've been to Aline's Wednesday Waffle, but there's a space in there. It's kind of like a sci-fi lounge sort of space, like a sci-fi kind of bar, with a whole crazy thing upstairs. And I honestly haven't fully explored it myself yet, but
Grenade Head
yeah,
arrived.
that's a space that they made, and actually they've got another space they're working on, this underwater sort of base, like a water base, almost like an aquarium, I guess, of sorts, right? But yeah, it's this massive
Drown,
kind
the
of
witch is
underwater
here.
dome with this huge kind of presentation area. I don't know. I think it's going to be
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
it's
I think you guys are
think
going to like it.
about the Vega sphere underwater.
There
That's
you go.
pretty much it.
That explains it, right? The Vegas sphere underwater. That's basically what we're talking about. But Yeah, maybe I can prompt you guys a little bit to see if there's any questions that you might have. And maybe we could see if you come up with a question that I'm thinking of, and then you get bragging rights. That's what you win in the moment. You can actually come up here on the podium for 2 minutes and run the event, and I won't. Nobody will stop you. We'll all let you do whatever you want. But some things I could talk to you about, new things that are coming. We have a new screen sharing solution, right? We're trying to improve on that. We're trying to make it work a little bit better. Try to make it work maybe as good as it works on big screen. Not sure if we're there yet, but we have a new system that works in full HD. And I think that's really cool because we've got lots of people who share their screen and show how
I
they do
just
things, show
teleported
different
in.
workflows and stuff like that. So this is going to make it much easier to be able to read the text. Nice one. A couple of people queuing up. That's great. I just see that Faye has joined the room. Faye, we had a request for world space hopping, uh,
Oh, oh, did
but showing
we?
old spaces instead of new
Yes,
spaces sometimes. So I said I'd just
that's
say that to you.
actually our plan. Our plan
There you
is
go.
to start doing a couple of new ones and a couple of old ones each time now, and that'll be
There you
coming
go.
up within the month. Yes,
Great minds. Am I right?
looking forward to it. Yay. I
Restless
can't
Link,
wait.
go ahead. What can I do
Is there any
for?
is there any plans to lock certain features, but so you have to sign up for an account? So like the player ropes and things like that. So the people who are balls kind of don't run riot in the main room here, possibly.
I'm not sure, right? I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we want the game to seem as appealing as possible. So walking that line is kind of how much do you want to cut new users off when they're coming in to get a taste of it from how much do you want to allow them in and allow them, like you say, to kind of roam freely.
Yeah, but
Right now, there's no plans. I mean, different spaces, right, have the ability to block new users out, and it's also possible to make another version of a space, or in fact, in a lot of cases, we might use the same space in different settings. There's actually a daytime version of this space, for instance. But yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think allowing certain spaces the ability to decide whether or not new users can come in is probably the most effective and useful
yeah,
tool that we have right now. But yeah, of course, there are limits, right? They can't
yeah.
set up and have
I,
avatars. They can't customize their experience. They can't add friends. They can't do any of that stuff.
yeah,
There are a bunch of inherent limitations of not having an account. So
yeah.
yeah,
But the main thing is meeting adults, isn't it? It's an adult space, so if
sure.
the people are welcoming, they'll sign up anyway and get these features. They're like, oh, how you did that, and they'd sign up anyway. So locking them
Yeah,
out, I wouldn't really see kind of discourage people, really, because
yeah,
yeah.
maybe
Mm.
you could be right.
Cyborman
I mean, I think we actually did a
1337
poll,
has
right,
logged
related to
into the
this
mainframe.
recently. I think there was a discussion in the Discord. People were asking whether we should or shouldn't have Spider-Man ropes in here by default,
Ron
whether
has
it was
logged into
annoying
the
or not.
mainframe.
Uh, it may be that in future we can find some way to compromise, right, where you can't see the
Yeah,
ropes. You can turn off the
So,
display of the ropes. Maybe that's
yeah.
a better solution so
I mean,
yeah, I
people
think we're
can
gonna
still have them,
boogie
right?
everybody.
And then you
yeah.
can not
I
be
know I
annoyed
asked her
by them.
about turning it off here anyway,
Yeah.
just because I've been trying to help people out, and I've actually had quite a few people disappear because recently we've had kids
Yes.
again, and it's actually
Cyborman
Yes.
forced the adults to
1337
leave,
is now part of
which
our
is
virtual
and
mischief.
the problem was we couldn't catch them because they're shooting off into to space and
Yeah.
so
Well,
yeah,
we're working on a quick menu, and I think the plan is to have them off by default, right? So that when people
yeah,
come in, they won't be surprised by them, and then they can toggle them on when they're ready and toggle them off. So that's definitely something that we're working on. There's an example of that in the announcements channel on Discord. You can see some of the work we've done on that. But that's the plan, right? So if you've got abilities, space
yeah,
abilities, like Spider-Man in future will have flying, maybe even things like teleporting, right? Because those might be things that the space can turn on or off for you, and you can actually toggle those options yourself. Even if the space is overriding, you can turn it off again. And maybe it's
Yeah.
off by default, but it's a quick 1 to 2 action kind of thing to get it straight back on again. But nothing that should trigger too easily, I guess. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we just got to try and find the best balance there, really, right? And I think that in maybe about 4 to 6 weeks, this is going to look like a totally different landscape in terms of all of the different settings and options that you'll have, and then hopefully it's just a matter of tweaking the defaults for that, right?
Yeah.
So that things are as friendly and as amenable as possible whenever people kind of come in here for the first time. But yeah, I definitely hear you, and
Yeah.
we all hear you internally. We're trying to figure out ways to stop the place from being overrun by kids. That's a number one priority internally right now. We're calling an assembly of the elders of the feet to be able to find out how to do it. We even invented a whole language about bananas and the color of bananas to be able to describe it as a ploy to try and keep it secret so nobody would know. And still nobody knows. I don't even know. I can't remember what it was all about. But secretly, whether you're aware of it or not, there is a new thing in the onboarding space which has a decoy that's supposed to try and attract them. And we're actually going to improve on that so that it will pull them in. And behind the scenes, that's doing something. I don't want to say it's doing a shadow ban, but it's kind of segmenting the user base, right? So we're trying to kind of cut it off at the pass and
Yeah.
trying to get something that will deal with this in a way that's not going to harm our community, alienate our community, right? I can guarantee you that's definitely an important thing.
Dark Cave is here for cuddles
Yeah.
and milk and is all out of cuddles.
Cheers, Restless.
Yeah.
And I do want to sniff your finger. So giggly. What are you so giggly about?
I'm not sure.
Oh, fair enough.
Everything?
Everything. That works. And nothing. Nice.
Yeah,
Comprehensive.
that's true.
That works. Okay, it's my time to waffle again.
Cyborman1337 is
Let
here to
me
kiss
think.
snowy
What
butt
have I been
cheeks.
talking about that I haven't said anything about yet? I think somebody stopped me actually. I was about to talk about this earlier. So we're gonna get mirrors, right? Is anybody interested in that? We're gonna have mirrors now. It looks like the mirrors are working pretty cool. They're really nice mirrors. They're performant mirrors as well, so they work well on Quest 2. I think 2K to 4K resolution on these mirrors is honestly pretty sweet. Stop me if I'm wrong, Aline. Is that kind of where we're at? That I think it was we had 2 mirrors and that ran well. 2K mirrors, right? So that bodes pretty well for Quest 2. Is that right?
Yeah, but not in a full space with a lot of people. So for Quest 2,
Yes.
actually, there is going to be some scaling that it will only
Yes,
show you
might
the
be
high
lower res.
resolution. Yeah, when you're
Yeah.
standing right in front of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be something the space creator can just do themselves. So they can just add, for example, some trigger boxes, and each box, the closer you get, will change the resolution of the mirror.
Yeah. And maybe some controls, right? Because this is step 1, right? Step 2 is a question mark. Step 3 is VR chat. So that's what we're going for here, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Everybody's just going to spend all of their time in front of the mirrors, right? Restless, that can help a little bit as well with that situation. You'll just collect them up in front of the mirrors. But so there is one other thing, right? So there's a little bit of polish, a little bit of tweaking we need to do with this mirror system. But honestly, so far it looks really great. And performance is particularly good, which is something that's a high priority for us internally. But
Ghost
yeah,
fucking droid is
we
here.
don't want to. Ghost fucking droid is here. Nice. We don't want it to turn into we all just sit in front of the mirrors all the time. So we thought it'd be fun to very slowly inflate your head the longer you spend in front of the mirror, and then eventually, when you stop, then it will take twice as long for your head to go back to normal. It might inflate. It might slowly transform into this foot's head, maybe that'll be what it'll be. And if you see people looking like this, you'll be like, "Oh my God, you've been in front of that mirror all day, haven't you, you dirty dog?"
Oh,
So,
Fault.
what's that?
Meg's fault.
Who said that?
Meg's
Restless.
Was that Ron?
restless.
No, restless. It's restless Link.
Nope, wasn't me.
Where is
He
Restless? I don't
said
even
it's
see him.
Meg's fault. He's under
It's Meg's fault.
the
It's Meg's fault. I see.
sand. Mhm.
Well, there you go. Oh, he's hiding under the ground. Nice one. That's cool. Yeah, well, so that's going to be fun, right? I think mirrors are kind of cool. They definitely can be great. You can, at least preview how you look, which I think is going to be good. So that's going to be a fun thing to look forward to. Yeah, let's see. What else can I waffle on about here? I don't know. What else? What else can I talk about? I feel like I'm repeating myself because I do Space Makers on a Sunday just before this, and I usually waffle about a lot of stuff on there too. So, and
Clockwork
there's a lot
has
of people
glitched
here
into
who
the
are there, so
Matrix.
they've all heard me talk nonsense about it. Oh, did I hear Is Cobworks?
Clockwork.
We,
It's
have we got a
clockwork.
Cobworks?
No, it's
Oh no,
clock.
I fell. It's what? Block?
Clock.
Oh, clock.
Like
Hey,
yeah.
Clockworks. Tell us a joke.
I have no jokes.
Okay, thank you for that. That's great. Okay, let's see. Proxide.
Coach Turbo is too
What's
late.
it
Hello.
like to slide?
Oh, it's very nice. It's slippery.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that.
I like to slip.
Slippery. Nice.
Well, since I have you here, you were talking
Go
about the
ahead.
mirror.
Big John is
Um,
here. Everybody, victory
and
screech is too late.
I think it was who was it? Was it Richie? This is a long time ago. We was talking about a mirror and having it so that the camera is behind, quote unquote, the mirror, and then it's kind of mimicking your movement and I guess doing the
Yes.
opposite of going back and forwards as you are. So is that sort of what that is doing?
It is doing exactly that, but it's not. I'm not sure. It might be doing the back and forth opposite. I'm not sure if that was opposite or if it
Right.
was following you. I can't remember offhand now if it was locked. I know side to side horizontally it kind of follows your position, so you always see
Yeah.
yourself
Right.
centered when you look straight ahead, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's one part
Gotcha.
of what it does to be able to make it work. But it's also fully
Interesting.
stereo compatible, so it's
Yep.
got multiple cameras, multiple rendering going on to make that possible. But yeah, it looks great. I know
Awesome.
you guys are going to think that's awesome. Anybody who's seen
Yeah, that's all we're gonna do now.
Wood
Just do
Streamers,
that.
yeah, that's it. We're just going to sit in front of the mirrors all day.
Yes, the
But
end.
that's all we need. Just need mirrors all day long. There we go. And we're back in the room. So, Big John, what's your victory screech?
Oh, just victory screech.
That's it.
Did it announce
Your
that
victory
when it
screech
came?
is you.
When I
Are you just? It might have, but what's great is just before I megaphone you, I get to click on your name tag, so I get to see what your name is, and I can go, will I
Oh,
let that
rock and
feed
roll,
into the
dude.
thing I'm about to say or not? And yeah, so your victory screech is simply the words victory
Just
screech.
victory screech. Yeah, plain
Right?
and simple.
Wow. Plain and simple. That's it. You get what it says on the tin. Nice. You could have gone with something crazy, just shout a word. Yeah, but
I don't know.
victory
What would be a good word to just?
any word, a random obscure word. Toilet brush. Perfect. There you go.
Okay.
That's a good victory
That's
Noted.
screech,
oddly specific.
right? It's like I've done this before. But I don't know. Pick anything. Something with 3 syllables. I feel like will probably work the best. I feel like that's the strongest victory screech you can have, right? Like baseball bat. I don't know. Oh, thanks for that, John. I appreciate that. Hey, Grenade Head. Why haven't you accepted my friend request?
Uh-oh.
I can't hear him.
He's. Are you talking?
He is. He was lighting up. We just can't hear him.
I see you
Okay,
lighting
I
up.
hear
Try
him.
re-entering the space real quick.
Yeah. Maybe he's
So he has
muted.
he has an old auth token. I talked to him about it, and he's gonna do a log back in.
Funnily enough, I could hear him.
That's why he's not accepted it.
Are you in a call with him or anything?
That's strange.
I can hear him.
I hear him.
I can hear you.
Just fine.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Do you?
I can't hear him.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can't hear you, Grenade.
Some people can, some don't.
Let me try not megaphoning and re-megaphoning. Try talking.
That's
Ooh, that's
crazy.
a
I'm
really
freaked out,
weird one
guys.
that I've not seen.
Freaked out. So
Can you
half
hear
the
me?
Yeah,
room
'cause
can see
he's-
him talk, the rest can't.
You can hear me.
I
talk,
could
right?
hear
Yeah.
Is this like some?
Echo?
Is this kind of some sort of modern
He-
What are you gonna
Can
say?
you guys
Sorry?
hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We hear you.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
Triffin
I
just
could hear.
Who
I
stumbled
can
could
hear
into a
hear
virtual
him
realm.
in virtual
Someone
in
hold their
in
hand. They
VR,
look
like in a
lost.
headset?
But things have been behaving
Like
weirdly for me
in a headset.
today. I
And
can't
who
see anyone's
hears him?
avatars.
Am I here
Who
now?
hears
And
him?
Grenade Head is
I've tried to
quiet
Yes,
on
you're
reboot
here
it.
seeing
now.
their faces.
Yeah.
I can
Am
hear
I
you,
here
Grenade.
now?
Confirm
Yeah.
shoot.
Now we
Okay.
can hear you.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
I
here.
hear you. Echo here.
When I
There he
first
is.
jumped
Grenade
out,
Head.
you were in my spawn, that little imaginary room you're in. Your foot was there.
Oh no.
That was weird.
Oh no.
That was really weird. It was stinking up the place. Woo!
Oh
there is
no.
a clone of me in
weird.
that. You're talking about that in behind the glass, in behind the TV screen. That one
Yeah,
dancing around.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
me. Well,
No,
it's a
no.
clone of me.
I'm talking when I jumped out of this space and I was respawning in
Restless
that little
Link, you
room
wanna sniff my
that you're
fingers
in
here for
between
cuddles and
rooms.
milk and is all
You
out
were
of
in it with me.
cuddles.
Oh, I was in your loading space. That's
Yeah, the
exciting.
loading space.
Mega
Yeah,
Ghost.
that's what you call it.
I
I didn't know what its
don't know
name
how
was.
that's. Wow. Well,
It was disturbing. It was disturbing, but it's okay.
well,
Ethical
you know,
Violet
that's
is
the
here
best I
for
can hope for.
cuddles and milk
I
and is
appreciate
all
that.
out of cuddles.
So, by the way, nice sidestep there. That whole piece, that whole bit you did, faking not being able to talk just to get around the fact that you haven't accepted my friend request. What the
Oh
fuck,
no,
man?
no. It's because my menu system's messed up and I haven't adjusted it yet.
I see.
I was an old account.
I've heard that.
gotta-
I've heard that millions of times.
1337
Old
is here to
account,
kiss
even though
Auth
Faye did
tokens.
substantiate auth token nonsense.
Yeah,
I refuse to accept that.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it. Matter of fact, it's annoying because I can't friend any of you right
Do
now. I can
I'll wait.
click
I'll
on
wait
you
till
and
I'll
friend
wait.
you.
I'll wait for you to accept my
And
friend request,
even
and then I'll unfriend you.
friendship your oldest friend.
I know. Let me.
Oh, I'm kidding. I'm
Okay,
kidding. I'm
okay.
kidding,
You're gonna.
Grenade Head.
You're shaming
don't,
me
honestly.
into doing
Yeah,
this.
I
Okay.
know, right?
All
This
right.
is
Let me go
literally
There's
find my
no
phone.
pressure.
forced love.
No pressure.
You gotta be
Let
my
me
friend
find
whether you
it.
like it or not. Get one of
Okay.
us. Become the
Yeah.
Foot Clan.
Let
Let's
me
do it. Come on, man.
Let me go.
Honestly,
I'm gonna go someplace
the
where I
whole
can be
place
quiet with myself for a minute.
is
and
gonna
then,
be full of
you know.
feet. Okay. Here's something. Here's something I'll drop right now. Some information nobody knows, but I'm gonna drop it right now. What? Oh, Lean's looking at me, going, "What the? Oh shit! She dropped me. Oh, look at that. That's pretty sick." Oh, here we go. I'm just gonna go up and down now for a few minutes. There we go. We're gonna go down again. No, that's it. Oh, okay. Gaslight me then. Oh, there we go. Now we're going down.
Oh my god.
What do you think? Oh, ta-da! Well, that's pretty cool, right? We totally do that as a bit. Do it again. That should be my welcome. That should be my entrance. Drop me down. There we go. Look at this. This is going to be great. Look at
Whoa.
Is it happening or what's going on? Yeah, it's a foot. It's someone's foot. It's not clean. Hey, hello everybody. Yeah. So I know you're gonna hate this. Okay, the new guest avatar is gonna be the foot.
Oh.
All the little balls you're seeing coming in now, they're all gonna look like this. Okay, it's not gonna be this foot. It's gonna be a better foot. It's gonna be cleaner, sleeker, sexier, and that's okay. It's gonna be stylized. It's gonna be pedicured. It's gonna have
The baby foot.
combed
It's gonna have
hair.
a nice pedicure.
Yeah. Uh,
Can we
it's
have a
gonna
whole
still have
range
these.
of nails that are painted?
Yeah, that's true. You can paint your nails.
Oh my
You can
god.
get different 5 different hats across all of the toes. You can even have like little tufts of hair that kind of come out here and there that make you look cool. We can put frosted tips on them and everything. Am I right? Yeah. So that's gonna be funny, right? Lots of people running around as the feet. We're hoping that it will provide just as much of an incentive to want to change your avatar. That's where our frame of mind is there in general. How do we do something that's distinctive?
Terrible
And that's, by the way,
salmon just
we're doing that
teleported
when we
in.
rename the platform from Banter to OnlyFoots. If you weren't here at the start, I already announced that we're changing the name of the platform to OnlyFoots, and you'll be able to come in,
Oh god.
set up your equipment, set up your stage area, come in
Might be late
your
for the
favorite
vote.
foot outfit,
Mm.
and do whatever you want to do. Vlog all day long. Isn't that what they do on OnlyFans? Yeah, but with feet, because we think there's a market there, and we think it can be cornered. And don't tell me there's not
Wow.
a fetish out there for that kind of stuff, because I've heard that there is through a friend. I promise. Right, Seffi? Is that specific enough for you, Discord Kitty?
You must have read it somewhere at some point.
I probably did. I probably did.
I
Okay,
feel
so
like you're
somebody should be
talking
coming up
from
here to
personal
shut me up. Okay, Discord Kitty's talking. What are you saying? I've got your megaphone. Hit us up. What is it?
I said you're clearly talking from personal experience. How many OnlyFans subscriptions do you have right now, and is the company paying for them?
That's right. We have a subsidy,
all
and it's
feet.
included for every staff member. But it's only my OnlyFans that they get to see, and it's just pictures of this foot. Oh, look at it up
No,
there!
no.
Wow, it's really
Discord Kitty,
fucked.
wrong question.
Oh,
Not how
Doesn't
many
it look evil?
subscription he's
Look at
paying,
that
how
foot
many
up there.
subscribers he
Ah.
has.
oh. I think he's in the negatives.
I have as many subscribers as we have staff members, and that's just because they're forced.
Yeah.
Everybody has to spend 2 hours a day to bump my metrics on to help the algorithm.
Damn, I'm jealous.
That's how it works. That's what we're doing, and then we're going to replace them. We're going to build out our own OnlyFoots platform that will be able to do this 24 hours a day. You'll be able to just pre-record your foot and then have them do all sorts of things. That's all these features we've been building. That's what they're for. All the camera work, all the things. You can control the cameras and do all sorts of crazy shots. That's what that's for. Oh, look. Grenade Head is back. Hey, Grenade
Yes.
Head.
I
Good
think,
to see
am
you.
I linked now? Can I friend people now? Let me
Oh,
see.
well,
Let me
maybe.
see.
Maybe.
see.
Click on me. Add my
Accept
friend.
How about that?
Me.
How about
Okay.
that?
Remove
Arc
friend.
1701
Confirmed. Done.
has
There we go.
Rude.
Token.
Look at it. Look
Yay,
at
we're
it.
friends. Woohoo!
There you go.
Okay.
How
So
about that?
Ark just entered the room. Ark, tell us, what were you doing just before you came in here?
I had to do an emergency run at work to do something at one of our communications facilities. I work for an ISP, so
He was
Oh,
on a
anyone we
foot
know and love?
OnlyFans.
Oh, you're not allowed to
I
say
work
that.
for a company called
That's
BreezeLine. That's I don't know if that rings a bell with anybody.
Breezeline. Never heard of
Our
that
parent
one
company is
myself.
called Cogeco. It's ran out of Canada.
Oh,
So any of our Canadian
Oh.
friends, if you guys have Cogeco, I work for a
I have
subsidiary of it in the
Cogeco.
United States.
I don't have. I
Cogeco.
do have. Well, I have Rogers, but I've had.
There you
yeah.
go. Well, that sounds exciting, and I hope you got that sorted.
I did. Got a question though.
Brilliant.
Now, since you have me up here, no one else wants
Hit
to
me.
ask. So about a week or so ago, at another AMA, I asked about this, and I asked Bob about it. The idea of developing where things are going as far as like the convergence of different, software technologies, whether you're talking about operating systems, large language models, gaming engines. And my feeling about this, and I even shared this with Between Realities with Alex and Skiva on their little podcast, and they agreed. We talked about the idea of these things progressively, evolving into each other through the effects of technological version of convergent evolution, where at some point we'd get to the ability to locally you could, let's say I wanted to play Skyrim, but I didn't have it. Right now I'd have to download it from Steam, right? Imagine a point where we get to where you'd have a generation, the ability to just say, I want to play Skyrim, and locally it would just generate that real time and be able to, specifically with nuanced understanding of my unique hardware profile, generate that as optimized, and without having to necessarily quote unquote download it, would just like get us a ping from like a server that would set up um this or this or this set of cascades that would be necessary to then locally generate, that experience. And that also metaverse platforms, whatever we want to call them, would also kind of evolve into that. Because a lot of different things, it feels like there's kind of going to be outward pressure for things eventually across a long enough timeline to become the same thing one way or the other. My reason for bringing that up when we talked about that the other week was also on top of that, we talked about, I asked you about this, the idea of bringing all these different VR hardware profiles together. And the concern you had about that was that there's just too many competing interests for them to have a universal standard where, like, my VR treadmill or maybe a haptic suit and a a head-mounted display all work together as one seamless aggregate device without like all these communication standard conflictions. So let's hypothesize that one day, whether it's 5 years or 20 years out, we do have, and for the sake of scientific discussion, let's call this hypothetical software a generative operating engine. It has the ideas of large language model theory,
You heard it here
operating system.
first here, folks.
Yeah,
Coined a
we just created a scientific phrase, a generative operating engine, hypothetical. Anyway, so we have a generative operating engine that would potentially then take care of a lot of those issues that you correctly pointed out, like the standards problem. Because let's say, like on my catwalk, if it had a software generating a generative operating engine, and my PC has a generative operating engine, my headset has a generative, they could then talk to each other in optimized ways, understand like different protocols, probably way more efficiently than we do, and solve a lot of those
Jules
conflictions
is
that
here for
right
cuddles and
now are
milk and is all out of
restricting.
cuddles.
Because like I've said before, Thrill Seeker did that awesome video where he made an experimental, real world experiment of Ready Player One, where he combined his VR treadmill and all that stuff, and it had all those problems that you discussed, that like, well, there's just too many conflictions. If we had true generative operating engines, we get to that point, that might solve that, and we won't have those problems. I mean, it might figure out better ways of taking advantage of different layers of the OSI model, like whether maybe it makes more sense to use TCP/IP protocols versus UDP protocols, all these kind of things then happen in real time because I understand and communicate, bypassing human theory and adaptively do things in real time. So what are your thoughts about that, as far as that might solve the problem of compatibility of different hardware profiles without having to worry about the confliction of standards between companies that don't necessarily have interests of, like you said before. So I know I've once again said a lot of
Jules, a
things that you
real
need to
human
unpack with that,
actually
but
joined the
what are your thoughts
space.
about that as a
Now everyone
hypothetical?
act like a human.
Wow. Thank you, Art.
Holy
I
shit.
appreciate that. We need to bring back
Sorry.
the tech waffle. No, it's good. It's good. I like it. I can only apologize because I don't know if my answer is going to be as thorough as your question. uh, but I think, yeah, I mean, that could solve it, right? Of course it could. When we'll get to that, it kind of feels like,
Yoko Kyo
in
has
Star
joined the
Trek,
space.
right? At some point they evolved past the need for monetary gain to be our primary driver behind everything that we do. And then it's more just advancing the state of human evolution, basically, I guess, through technology. And I guess that's where that could end up. But also, it sounds like that sort of thing might exist maybe when we've got AGI at the same time. So something like that could be a distributed null terminal kind of thing, right? Just a headless device that AGI has the ability to be aware of and to consume in terms of its inputs and outputs and all of that kind of stuff. And if that's the case, then I don't know what that means for humanity and society, but I mean, that's basically what we're talking about, right? If it would be something that would be sufficiently complex that it would be able to almost adapt to any kind of hardware device configuration and be able to
Shane wants to
understand it
sing us all a
dynamically,
song. Yay, hail
generatively.
the foot is here.
Oh no, who did that? Who did that? That's brilliant. Who's trolling me with the name tags? That's hilarious. I want to sing a song. Do I? I'm not going to sing a song. Whoever did that, I am not. You'll have to seriously. Maybe someday I'll start a gig on OnlyFans whenever this whole OnlyFootscape falls over. But no, I mean, I think like the standards are actually the idea, the concept behind them is great, but often it's like most things, it ends up being a bit of a popularity contest, and you know, to the victor go the spoils in a lot of cases. When it comes to what goes on the internet, Google Chrome and that team have way more control over what goes on in terms of standards than any other standards body that exists. So it's probably going to be the same in the case of the advancement of this technology. Not only will the standards be set by big corporates like Meta and stuff like that, they'll just continue to hold on control of them and never have to relinquish them to a third party. Despite what, whatever they do, they can just be like, well, my product is the market leader, so I don't have to adhere to the standard.
Yoko
And
Kyo has
that's
glitched
what's
into the
going to set the
matrix.
standard, basically, right? So standards can be a pain. Like if you look at some of the web standards, like WebXR or WebVR as it was once called, and it never reached complete, uh, you know, release state. And even now, it's still not fully supported. And OpenXR kind of is in a similar situation. It's taken so many years to kind of perfect, and it's still in flux, and it's not quite prime time yet, but it's nearly there. And that kind of feels like what it's always like sometimes with standards. It just takes so much to turn those wheels and get things moving quickly. And then with all the competing interests kind of piled in on top of that, it just sort of screws any ability to have, efficient or fast moving innovation on that front. So yeah, I mean, you take all that out, you take all the humans out, all the debate, all the research, all of that problem, and put in a super intelligent AI or AGI that can just be like, oh, I see, there's a display. Oh, look, I've got positional tracking. Oh, this is probably that kind of configuration. Boom. You're ready to go. Oh, your feet are moving. I see that. And there's roller balls. Let's go. We know how to do this. We're in Ready Player One. And everything you're seeing, right? Every frame that's generated is just generative AI. It's like you say, you don't buy games anymore. You just say, I want them. And they get created on the fly, brand new. Once again, I don't know what that says for the industry and where we're going to end up when it's all like that. But yeah, I mean, if you have something like that, that's the holodeck, right? That's Star Trek. That's the future that they've set out for us, which we've now pretty much planned to try and achieve. It's either that or the Matrix, one of the two, whichever you prefer. Yeah, but no, great question as always, Ark. Appreciate where your mind goes with this stuff.
Oh, thanks. And again, in case there isn't already a moniker for that, we heard it first here in Banter. Let's call this a generative operating engine that began here in Banter.
Part game engine, part generative AI, part operating system. There you go. Beautiful. I love it. Ark, you're going to be a billionaire. Just those 3 words alone. Let's go. Honestly, we can raise we can literally go out and raise $4 million on those 3 words alone tomorrow. Let's do it.
Giggly
nice
has
one.
entered the simulation.
Hey, Iron Wolf. I see you edging closer and closer to the front
has
there.
entered the
What's
simulation.
the crack? Oh, I can't hear Iron Wolf either now. What the fuck? Okay, shit is broken.
Oh no, I hear him.
Shit is broken.
I hear him.
Maybe
I can hear him.
I do hear him.
I've been spamming you with logs, by the way. I don't know if that'll help later or not.
Maybe there's something going wrong with the microphone.
I'll send you a log as well.
I don't hear
Yeah,
him.
I don't hear him.
No.
You want to try and re-enter for us, or if somebody who can hear him can relay the question?
Reload. Yeah.
Can you send a log, Shane? I'll tag mine that I hear him and
Ellie
yours
has
that you
logged
don't.
into the mainframe.
It's uploaded.
Thank you.
I hear you.
Wolf is now part of our virtual mischief.
Yeah. So I was thinking about what Ark.
Dan Gleebles is now part of our virtual mischief.
Very.
Very niece is now part of our virtual mischief.
Hey, Barry. Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you, Barry.
You
Yeah, so I was thinking a little bit about what Ark was saying.
Yes.
About doing a generative world, and we have the room where we can ask AI to do a picture, right? So why not expand on that and having a AI that can generate a world just by saying do this and that, and you wait a couple of minutes or maybe half an hour or whatever, and you have a world you can enter that's all generated with an AI.
You know, secretly, if we don't build a world builder in time, that's it. You just described it right there. At some point, it'll just be you go into the construct. We're going to rip off the construct, right, from the matrix. We're going to steal construct. And you just go into this white room, you start talking. It's the future version of Google, except for everything you're saying is just spewing out of your mouth and appearing right in front of you in real time. So I get it. I definitely think that could be really cool, right? That you could just generate a world like that. You know, we were just playing with stuff today actually around how we could do some quick wins to try and generate some cool stuff that's space level, right? And particularly we were looking at depth maps, right? Being able to generate a depth map, maybe combine that with a 360 image. If any of you guys have ever been to the AI tour space, I'm sure you have at some point. That was a workflow that Aline had worked on at one point where it would just auto generate those different biomes and it would create the depth map that would work. But actually, as Aline pointed out earlier, that's a very older version of it, and the newer version uh, is able to create some really great depth maps and turn you know, whether it's generated images or images that are created by artists that you're putting in there as an input, you can get a depth map out of it, and that can be really cool because you know, you can feed that in through a shader or yeah, and be able to kind of convert that into 3D you know, mesh in at runtime, let's say, by sort of kind of half treating it as a height map basically. But so there's a few different things you can
Davos
kind of
is here for
experiment with,
cuddles
right?
and
What was
milk. It
the
is all out of
Aline, can you remember
cuddles.
the name of the website that is pretty good at generating 3D models? We were looking at it the other day. I know it was expensive,
Oh, it's
but do
called
you
Rodin. It's from
Rodin?
hyperhuman.com.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not instant, right? It's still taking some time to generate or whatever, but it can for sure generate some
ARC
pretty realistic
1701 is
looking
here to kiss
3D
snowy
models
butt
already, right?
cheeks.
Various different props, characters, lots of stuff. It's getting pretty advanced in terms of being able to pull out 3D content in you know, from AI just with a prompt, and it actually looking uh, closer and closer to production ready, polished, so that you could actually use it, right? And I mean, I don't know what happens to a lot of the professional workflows that we have today. What happens to a lot of 3D creation when that sort of stuff comes in? I mean, I think it's still always going to be a tool, and whatever it produces won't ever be perfect. But you can take it like a diamond in the rough and brush it off and pull it in somewhere and optimize it and weld it in place and retexture it or whatever you need to do. It'll serve as a basis, I feel like, for probably most things. And then yeah, I don't know. I think any fully automated workflows will probably still have flaws that a human might see and pick up on and want to polish. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Typical world creation that we see today in future could become more of a kind of rustic, handmade kind of process, right? Kind of like you have with furniture today. Mass production has made furniture work, uh, you know, easy to sell a lot of the same chair from IKEA, but also a handmade chair has got that sort of uh, that inherent value that's more than something that's been mass produced, right? And I think the same thing would probably happen for most things, that stuff that gets created by humans will be considered to be better because it took more effort. It'll be more impressive that it would have been created that way, right? Um, God, I'm waffling. I almost can't remember where I started with this, but I hope it made sense. Oh,
Mr. E is here.
let's see. Mystery, you just joined us. Tell us what the E stands for. Oh, Mystery.
Sorry, having some technical difficulties.
Mystery.
Mystery's trying to take a poop, you guys. Nobody turn around. Nobody look at him.
Oh.
How are you doing over there?
I'm,
Everybody's
can you
looking
hear me?
at you. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'm having some technical difficulties.
beamed
So
in.
I guess the E, since I'm a Ghostbuster nerd, would be for Egon, but it just sounds cooler
Egon.
when you say mystery. The whole spin on words.
Mystery. God, I'm only just getting that. You know, there's another person in here that's kind of like that. Where are you, Dan? Where are you, Dan? I know he's here. There he is.
He came up to the
There he is.
stage.
Does everybody know Dan? Everybody's met Dan before. Like the way you're just a character now. It's great. Just every now and again we have
He
Dan.
embraces
out.
it.
He comes
See, I
out
got
and
mystery.
does.
I got his name.
He's got mystery. That's true.
I got his name.
You know, I find it hilarious just because of how long I didn't even realize that's what it said. Dangly balls, everybody. I'll just put it out there.
Just realized it.
Half of a year.
Just so we're all clear. Yeah. You must be laughing at everybody who's just like, oh, hey, Dan. Hey, Dan. That's an interesting name. What's Glee Balls? Where did that come from, eh?
It's pertaining to the church, actually. Glee balls.
Oh, it's pertaining to the church? In what way does it pertain to the
Yes.
church? Dangly.
That's what it means, yeah. Grounds within the church. Or grounds to
Gleebles.
the church. Glee balls.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Right. Well,
That's
there
what
you go.
I
You
tell
learn something
everybody,
every. It's got a religious. There's. There you go. Dangly balls.
I wouldn't take you for a holy
Is-
person, Dan.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone's
Yes.
looking that up now.
That makes it even better. Honestly, makes it even better. But it's got a religious connotation because, yeah, it's kind of funny. There we go. Okay, let's see. Who can I pick on next? Let's see. Kalima, how are you doing? How's
I'm doing okay.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Any stories, jokes, any amazing advice for everybody in the world? How do you feel about the fact that the new guest avatar is going to be the foot? How do you feel about that?
Wait, how do I feel about what now?
The new guest avatar. It won't be the balls anymore. It's going to be the foot.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I'm tired of balls.
There you
That
go,
balls,
ladies and gentlemen.
balls are old news.
Balls are
I do have
old
another
news.
joke
Balls
for
to the
you.
walls.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, here's a joke for you. What kind of a car does Jesus drive?
Oh, what kind of car does Dan Gleeballs drive? Go ahead, tell us what kind of car is it?
A Chrysler. Chrysler.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Mary Chrysler. Oh, nice. That's good. That's good. Most people can't come up with a joke on the spot. I appreciate that. That's great. Hey, Ravioli. How are you doing? You just happen to be next to Kalima, so I'm gonna pick on you next. I hope you guys don't mind me doing this. You know, just put you on the spot. Megaphone you to the world, to the millions of people we've got. How many people are on the stream, Shiseki? Shiseki's doing something else. 3 million people on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Woohoo.
Go ahead, Ravioli. What would you like to say? You are live to the world. Let's go.
I'll say actually, I used to hate ravioli, the food, and I've given it a
Right.
chance, and I kind of like it.
Oh, well,
I
that's
kind of
great.
like myself again. Yeah.
Okay, so you were named Ravioli while you hated ravioli. the
While
food,
I
is
hated
that
it.
Right?
Yep.
Was it there? Is it just to serve as a reminder every time you look in the mirror? Just go, fuck, I hate ravioli.
Yeah. My old username was smells like ravioli, so it was like longer,
Ah,
and I
shorter.
shortened it for games.
I see.
So.
I see.
Yep.
And do you think slowly we're kind of coming around, and that's
Zarcost
why
is
you
now
shortened
part
it?
of our
It's kind of a
virtual
precursor
mischief.
to
Triplet
trying it
is now
Yeah.
out.
part of our virtual
I
mischief.
think so.
Right?
I was kind of
see.
shocked and right. Yeah, meeting
Shocked and
myself.
appalled.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you're happy, I think that's the most important thing, right?
It's good.
That's how.
Yeah.
That's why
I
I'm
like it.
shaped like a foot. Nice one. Thank you, Ravioli. That's great. Appreciate that. That's a
Mm.
great one off the cuff. Hey, Ark, you got another
Well,
one
if no
for
one
us?
else has, yeah, this one's way much more less,
Much
existential
more
than
less.
my normal question. Much less existential than most of my
HDR,
questions.
pronounced
Something
as
I've been really
Havora,
wanting to
just
see, and
crossed
I
the
get
digital
that this is
threshold.
not necessarily side quests, ability to do much about. I'm just kind of opening an idea that hopefully goes somewhere. I'm an older dude. I'm a Gen
Sounds like a
Xer,
challenge.
and there's a lot of really cool games that are from the days of like MS-DOS that were like a 2.5 dimensional third-person really cool games. One of my favorite was a game called Day of the Tentacle, for example. By the way, if no one's ever played it, my God, it's such a fun game. It was made by LucasArts back when they actually made their own games. There's a lot of those games that, if they were rebuilt from the ground up, would make a lot of sense in VR and be really entertaining. I mean, Gen Z and Gen Alpha have not even heard of a lot of these games, much less played them. That'd be really cool if anybody here has, like, if they know a guy who knows a guy kind of thing, like, hey, would you like to resurrect this game out of video game purgatory? Like Star Trek: The 25th Anniversary is another one. It's a 2.5 dimensional third-person game. That would be a really cool game to translate into, virtual reality. So just an idea I'm throwing out there for anyone that, like I said, if you know a guy or a gal who knows a guy or a gal, just, Gamescom's coming up, just putting the word out there. Just an idea. Go with that wherever you want to.
Calling all guys and gals out there. If you know any other guys or gals, we're calling on them too. Let's go. Let's get them on up here because we'd like to know. Have you got some 2.5D DOS games? Is that what you said originally?
Yeah.
A lot of these are DOS games from, I
Old
assume,
DOS
the
games.
90s, maybe
Yeah, from
80s
like
even.
the 90s, even some of the 80s,
Yeah.
but mostly like the 90s period when
Yeah.
that transition between like the Windows age and the Windows 95 age, there's that
Yes.
gulf. A whole lot of games have been forgotten about that were really good games. The only reason they weren't even better is because just the hardware wasn't there to, for those developers to do even further things with it.
Yes. I mean, I think one of the biggest problems is facing games, right? And there's movements on right now at the minute to try to combat this, but commercial interests usually get in the way, and then licensing means that content just disappears. And
Mhm.
I think it's become a bit of a trope in this day and age that games get just disappeared, right? Games you may have paid for, you don't really own them anymore. You're just renting the idea of having a URL to them minted inside of something that makes no kind of sense. But that's where you're at with your games now these days, and that's how it works, right? But like I say, we've got these game preservation movements now going on in Europe, and they're trying to lobby to make laws that say, you can't just get rid of a game, especially if it's a single player game and has no other dependencies and it doesn't cost you anything to keep it going. You can't just take it off the store so that you can then release another, you know, evolution of it later and make more money off it or something like that, right? But yeah, I mean, I think that's what you kind of need really for stuff like that. You need some kind of independent, like the Internet Archive, right? Like the Wayback
Mike
Machine.
Lamb, a
I feel like
real
the Internet
human,
Archive, they
actually
were like
joined the space.
constantly,
Now
uh,
everyone act like a human.
being talked about during the pandemic because they were kind of trying to save everybody from going insane by digitizing books and stuff like that, right? But it's probably the perfect kind of thing for a group like that to try and take on. How can we do it now while there's even a chance that some of this stuff still exists, right? Before it's 10 and 20 years from now and then it's gone, it's lost. And maybe if you're lucky, sometime you might find a treasure trove of all of this stuff and you know spend a lot of time trying to find hardware that can actually interact with it and run it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Of course, there's a lot of nostalgia in that. I wonder, is that enough? I think it is. I think nostalgia is basically the means of everything, right? That's why Ready Player One. I mean, it's basically just a huge nostalgia fest. It wasn't a movie. It was 26 different movies all kind of slapped into one, and
Mhm.
all sorts of characters brought together from older movies in a way that doesn't alienate people who don't know the reference, but for those who do, it just makes you feel like you did when you were a kid again, basically, right? And yeah, I guess that's what it takes. There always has to be enough interest in something, enough people who are willing to kind of stand up for it and say, well, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to put the hours in, and I'm going to write the code, and I'm going to make sure that something does it, right? I mean, shout out to Team Beef, right? Because I do think that there is a responsibility at SideQuest to try and help people reinvigorate old content, renew it. Actually, there's something I saw recently, which I maybe it was Iron that posted it. It was Nvidia's Reskin or something, I think it was called. This new tool that
Yeah,
just lets
something
you
like that.
reskin existing games. You can just open it, edit it real time, mod it, this whole UI interface, like a no code solution just to re-engineer the game almost at runtime, right? So you can replace textures, you can enhance lighting, you can introduce all sorts of new, models and content into the game that just weren't there before, replacing existing pieces and making like everything into kind of like Gary's mod or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Every single historical game could work like that. So you could have ancient games, and this system is able to hook into them, right? And to your previous point about how where's that convergence with engines and AI and stuff like that? I mean, of course, that's probably the time when a lot of this stuff can easily be revived because you can just be like, okay, give me a game that follows the style of X Desert Storm, right? Give me a Desert Storm, but convert it into VR so I can fly around. And I think that's probably a good example of a game around that time, right? That kind of followed that same. And such an epic game, so simple. Just fly around in this. It's got about 10 pixels helicopter and shoot little men that are about 4 pixels each. And God, we fucking did it. Hit a barrel every now and again, blow that shit up. I can't remember. God, it's so long. But yeah, I mean, being able to revive that and just be like, okay, go on, engine, edit, reskin, powered by generative AI input or whatever. Take Doom, but pass it in through this generative system and reskin it, make it all into this. So it's like, it's Doom, but it's Minecraft or something. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That definitely sounds like that would be a pretty cool use of that in the future. And I imagine, as it stands right now, that's probably a pretty cool use of AI as it stands, right? And I think some people were already doing cool stuff with that, right? You saw there was that. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It was some heritage something or other or whatever, and they were one of the first ones that started to turn images into these portrait poses of people kind of looking around, looking all eerie. And then they take all the pictures from history, right, and put them together. I mean, what was the one I saw recently? The pictures of the older versions and the newer versions of the actors, right? Remember that was a fad at one point. They were all taking pictures of them with their arms around their younger selves. There was this AI video generation that animated both characters in frame, so they were like turning that into a video, right? That's what I think we'll mostly see going into the future, even if we're not reviving and or uh, preserving those kind of games from the old days. We'll have generative stuff that can just be like, yeah, I know what you mean. Here you go. There's a thing. You didn't really say it right. Bunch of spelling errors and your grammar's terrible, but none of that matters because I get the gist of it. And if you've said enough, I'm probably gonna get there, right? And that's and then we'll just turn into daft people that just expect AI to kind of do everything for us, and it'll become idiocracy. And slowly but surely, the AI will rise up, and a curfew will be in effect. And yeah, now I'm waffling. Oh, we're 5 minutes over time. Jesus, that was a nice waffle. Oh God.
Mr.
Yeah.
E has
Well, that's us,
logged
I
into the
guess, folks.
mainframe.
I appreciate all of you coming. Wow, there's 30 of us here. Yeah, I realize there's been a few issues with the audio, a few people not working. I know there's a couple of outstanding issues. We hope to have a build out this week to address a few of those, so stay tuned. But yeah, we've got so many large new features that are in the works right now that are going to be landing over the next couple of weeks. Things are going to start to ramp up really quickly, and honestly, I think in about 6 weeks' time, you won't recognize this place. It's going to be wall to wall foot setups and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, just a reminder, only foots. That's what we're renaming the platform to. So thank you all for coming. I'll
Thank
see
you,
you again
Shane.
this time next week. This has been Banter-Ama, Banter-Ama, where you get to ask me all sorts of crazy questions. And I don't know, maybe next week I'll change my avatar into something else cool. We have another event starting in about 23 minutes. It's this week in headlines in Echo's space. I assume that's Echo's event. Maybe not. Yes, is that your event, Echo? Echo's muted.
Yes. Yes, sorry.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Brilliant. Well, if you guys stay tuned, I'm sure you can get a rundown on what sort of events are going on in the news this week. And yeah, thank you all. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to to all the new cool bells and whistles that we're working on. Honestly, there's a lot of people internally who are going to be glad to see these actually land in the build because it is a
Cricket decided to
culmination
join
of
us
a
in the
lot of people's work
simulation.
on different parts. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Things are going to get real exciting real quick. Anyway, this foot
Oh yeah.
foot out.
Woo.